Hey DC fans! Are you ready to hear everything we know so far about the highly anticipated Supergirl Women of Tomorrow series? With Emma Watson and Grant Gustin set to bring their talents to the DC universe, this promises to be one of the most exciting releases yet. From the latest casting news to plot hints, we've got everything covered right here, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Get ready to soar to new heights with Supergirl, Women of Tomorrow. Let's dive in. The oldest and the most recognizable of the other heroes, Superman or Batman, are frequently the first to come to mind when one thinks of them. Yet Supergirl, whose roots go back as far as her superpowered cousin, is the choice for some. Action Comics published Superman for the first time in 1938. Supergirl, however, who was Otto Binder and Al Plastino's brainchild, debuted in late spring of 1959. Kara Danvers, also known as Kara Jor-El, is a famous cousin of Superman and is the child of Zor-El and Allura in Z. Her journey to Earth was fairly similar to that of her cousins, but she had a different goal in mind. Zor-El created a pod for Kara that is comparable to Kal-El-El's order to shield his daughter from an oncoming catastrophe. Comic Essentials claim that Zor-El programmed her pod to orbit the sun so she could recharge her powers before moving on to her target. Later, Kara would find herself on Earth, where her main task was to serve as Superman's guardian. Supergirl has appeared in several different incarnations over the years, including Sir-El, Powergirl, The Matrix Supergirl, and the New 52 Supergirl. Although they all remained close to the original, there were clear differences and characterization changes. The New 52 Supergirl was described as being an angrier, more distrusting incarnation by comicbook.com. Powergirl was portrayed as a doppelganger who was more certain than the original. And more recently, the CW debuted its much-loved Supergirl to the world in a groundbreaking series that won over fans. It, however, came to an end in 2021. Fans can once again rejoice despite Danvers' apparent absence from the airways at the moment. The favorite heroine will return to the big screen, according to the news of the DCU's newest lineup. A Supergirl film based on the comic book series Supergirl, Women of Tomorrow will be part of the new DC universe. Supergirl, Women of the Future was announced by James Gunn and Peter Safran as part of the DCU's Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. Clearly, there is some reluctance and a desire to curb excitement because changes frequently usher in fresh worries. Yet, new can also lead to amazing discoveries and lovable fan favorites. These are our thoughts on why we believe Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow is a fantastic approach to introduce Supergirl to the new DC universe, now that viewers are poised on the edge of change. James Gunn, co-CEO of DC Studios, may have hinted at how the DCU Supergirl would differ from past renditions in the upcoming movie Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is slated to debut a brand new version of the Girl of Steel on the big screen. The first phase of the DC Universe reboot will shortly begin, and Gunn asserts that it is a lot more thought out than Marvel was when Marvel released their Phase 1 movies. Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl, is one of the unexpected characters on the list, and it appears like DC Studios will give the cousin of Superman a distinctive interpretation to make her stand out. What's the plot of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow? James Gunn and Peter Safran, the co-CEOs of DC Studios, have announced Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow as a part of the DCU's Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters, according to Variety. The planned film is based on Tom King's 2021-2022 era comic book series of the same name. Gunn stated that Kara Danvers in the DCU is far more hardcore, describing her as a totally different type of Supergirl. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, part of the DC universe, would examine a version of the hero who was raised on a rock chip off of Krypton, and who saw everyone around her die and be slaughtered in awful ways for the first 14 years of her life, according to Gunn. Kara was in Krypton. She was on a piece of Krypton that drifted away from the planet, and she lived there for the first 14 years of her life in a horrible situation, where she watched everyone around her die. In contrast, Superman was sent to Earth and raised by incredibly loving parents and nurtured. As a result, she is a much harsher and a more damaged Supergirl than we have seen so far. After learning that Krem is accountable for poisoning Krypto, Kara finally supports Ruthie's cause despite her initial reluctance. As a result, in order to seek retribution from Krem's wrongdoings, Kara and Ruthie embark on a galactic journey. In Woman of Tomorrow, Kara becomes a rogue mercenary who sets her own rules after losing her innocent reputation. This version doesn't take bullshit from anyone and curses like there's no tomorrow while drinking like an alcoholic. So another question that arises is, will Sasha Calle of The Flash portray Supergirl in the DC universe? Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow star Sasha Calle may or may not reprise her role as Supergirl, according to James Gunn and Peter Safran of DC Studios. Prior to DC's rebirth, the duo admitted that they are still working things out. We're working out every detail, we don't know yet. The release of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is still quite a ways off. The final actress to play a live-action Kara Danvers in the CW Supergirl, part of the Arrowverse, was Melissa Benoist. Although The Flash hasn't given it Supergirl a specific name, many people believe that Calle's Girl of Steel won't be the conventional Danvers. She looks more like Lara Lane Kent, the daughter of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, who appears in the video game Injustice and would be likely cast as such based on her outfit, hair and appearance. How will DCU adapt Supergirl by Tom King? Gunn's declaration that Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow is based on the same comic book series by Tom King suggests that the DCU adaptation will take place in space rather than on Earth. It is anticipated that Kara Zor-El will appear in Woman of Tomorrow as a version of herself who never made it to Earth and had to make it on her own on a fragment of Krypton. Also, the DCU Superman may be unaware of his cousin, which could change how they interact in future encounters. The hardcore attitude of Supergirl might someday conflict with the sympathetic and idealistic character of Superman. Woman of Tomorrow may depict a Kara Zor-El who isn't holding back and kills like there's no tomorrow before Supergirl arrives finally on Earth. Ruthie and Krypto, who will serve as the protagonist's moral compass and serve to remind her that murdering is never an option, might instead appear in the film. The Supergirl film from the DC universe might focus on Kara's evolution from a brutal assassin to a more responsible hero. When she first met her cousin Clark Kent, she could still manage to maintain some of her hardcore personas to keep things intriguing. Reiterating a strong persona is a great tactic. Such an action concentrates on fortifying the current foundation. Yet, putting money into something new increases the chance of expanding the audience and rekindling enthusiasm. The most recent version makes that commitment. The most recent version of the CW version will be very different, as noted by Screen Rant. Indeed, this version is much less romantic and harder core. According to the direct, in Woman of Tomorrow, Kara becomes a rogue mercenary who sets her own rules after losing her innocent facade. This version doesn't take crap from anyone and curses like there's no tomorrow while drinking like an alcoholic. And that's a really exciting change from what most fans are used to, given the probability that it may alter viewers' perceptions and allow them the opportunity to observe Supergirl with new eyes and higher expectations. This is in fact encouraging. So there you have it, folks. That's everything we know so far about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. With Emma Watson and Grant Gustin ready to take on these iconic roles, it's sure to be an action-packed adventure that you won't want to miss. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for tuning in to DCU News, your one-stop shop for all things DC Universe. We'll see you in the next video.